The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code MLB SGPN. Get a $1,000 bonus credit. We're also brought by EdgeBoost. Get $50 per month to get rewards by using the EdgeBoost link, edgeboost.bet, with the promo code SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network, the second episode of Wednesday. A reminder, we do have a couple of prop episodes during the course of the week. For this episode, we're going to break down the Thursday games. I'm your host, Reichel, joined by Rockford. And together, we're going to break down the Thursday games, a pretty short slate compared to what you might have expected. We had a bunch of day games today, so you are expecting a lot of teams off tomorrow because it's moving day. But you do have 5 games tomorrow. You have a couple of day games and a couple of night games. No games, though, after 7:40, which I find pretty, I'd say, unique. But overall, pretty short slate. We're still going to break down all the games. Dylan, how's it going with you, though?
I'm doing well. Like you said, short slate usually on a Thursday since it is traveling day, but it's been good. Off to a 2-0 start. Reds, they put up, 14 runs the other day, and then they put up a goose egg today. But Paul Skeens look good.
Back-to-back days, by the way. They lost 1-0
Yeah.
the last 2 days.
It's insane. Cardinals still looking good. They put up 12 runs, so we'll see. And then Cubs, they look like they've turned it around a little bit. Offenses look good past few days, but it's been good, and it's good to have day baseball. It's always nice to have day baseball.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, though, for the actual question about day baseball.
Yeah.
I know that typically over the course of the week, we want more day games because when you're competing with the NBA and the NHL and there's nothing on in the afternoon, why are you not trying to capitalize on basically free real estate? Having said that, there were a ton of day games today. So I kind of wanted your thoughts. What do you prefer in terms of like a number of day games to night games? Do you prefer to have like an even mix? Do you prefer to have more day games, or do you like to have maybe 1 or 2 day games and just a massive night slate? Do you have any preference?
Yeah, so during the week, like you said, I'd rather have 1 or 2 games, especially early on, just because you have the NBA playoffs coming on, the NHL playoffs coming on. But when it gets in the middle of the season, when it's just that, I don't mind all the 6, 7 o'clock games, even the 10-10 over on the West Coast. I don't mind them. But yeah, in the beginning and later in the season, when people's interests are towards football, towards September and October, yeah, I don't mind, just to get us ready throughout the week, a couple day games, but not like how they had it on opening day where all the games started at 3 o'clock. I thought that was just an error on their part. But yeah, I don't mind a 1 o'clock, a 1 o'clock game, then maybe a 3:10, a 4:10. So we got some options. But yeah, I like day baseball.
Yeah, I agree with staggering it out. I'm just wondering because it's 5 o'clock right now. You already have 4 games that went final, and you already have about 5, 6, 7. You have 6 other games, supposed to be 7 because there's a rain delay.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to be basically like somewhere in the middle of 11 games already, and it's 5 o'clock. And I'm kind of asking if you think that's overkill or not.
I don't. I think it's just enough. Maybe it's overkill for the people on the West Coast who have to get up a little early to put their bets in, but I don't personally. And for me, who doesn't really have a lot going on throughout the day, it's just enough with multiple TVs. But I can see how, from an outside perspective, it can be a little too much.
Yeah, see, I think I'm a little bit biased, though, because when people are looking for stuff to bet on early in the morning, I have tennis throughout the entire year that starts usually in Europe when it's actually taking place there at like 7 a.m. That can carry you to like 3. So I'm already fine, but there are people out there who don't really watch tennis or other sports, and they're looking for anything to do. I imagine all the people that have been sweating out baseball parlays at their work desk over the course of the day, I'm sure it's more than you think, and I'm sure they've been busy over the course of the day.
I also think real quick, in the beginning of the season, when there are other major sports on, basketball, we even got the UFL coming on, but you could get really ahead of these soft lines that the books are putting out for baseball, because I don't feel like they catch up to the pitchers and the hitters until around maybe May and June. So yeah, I think early on and later on, when they start focusing most of their lines towards football, I think we could get ahead of some lines and make some money.
Yeah, well, definitely true, because you have some baseball teams who are still trying to find their identities out, or if you're looking at a team that's slumping, for example, the Braves. I know they've had a tough schedule, but the point is the Braves are viewed as a playoff team every year, but as a result, they are priced accordingly. And if you find a team that is, I'd say, slumping or underachieving, or once again, a team that is overvalued, I agree. You can find a lot of value fading them if you find the right spots. And if you've been fading Atlanta, especially the offense, over the last week or so, you might be a millionaire at this point. So, like, what I'm trying to say here? The Braves scored, I think it was like one run in like 30-plus innings at some point. It was ugly. They're still over. So we'll see what happens over the course of the remainder of the season. But you have a couple teams that started off slowly that were expected to be pretty good, and we'll see what happens there. I do want to ask you, though, out of all the teams that have been kind of underperforming right now, with the Red Sox being 1-4, the Twins being 1-4, and the Braves being 0-6, albeit a very tough schedule, but still, which of those teams are you the most concerned about right now?
I would say the Twins, just because I don't trust their bullpen. The pitching isn't good, and I just don't think in a very weak division they have any room to fall this much behind early on. I think they need to win every game, especially against the White Sox. And in AL Central that, Kansas City's kind of underperforming as well. Offense doesn't really look that good. Cleveland, Detroit, I think they need to win every game. So losing 9-0 to the Chicago White Sox is very concerning. I think I'd be the most worried about them. Braves, I think they'll be fine. They'll turn it around. Red Sox, I think they'll be a playoff team as well. They have the pitching. They have a really good lineup as well. So I'm not really worried about them. It is early, but yeah, I think the Twins I would be the most worried about if I was a Minnesota fan.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves, once again, have not been good at all. When you have the Padres and the Dodgers back-to-back, I can understand why your team might be struggling to win games. But I think I agree with you about Minnesota based on how last year ended. A reminder, they were almost guaranteed a playoff spot, and they had a massive collapse in September.
Yeah.
And you're looking at Baldelli, who's been on the hot seat for what feels like his entire manager career with the Twins. They brought him back after that whole team collapsed last year. You're paying Correa a bunch of money. He can't hustle out double plays like we saw yesterday. And they're just not really close to anything. Like, I agree with you about the bullpen. I think that you're looking at the lineup, which is fine, but Buxton gets hurt all the time. Correa is also
all their star players are injury prone.
Yeah, and besides that, I mean, once again, when you are struggling against the White Sox and you don't look good against the Cardinals might be decent. Shout out to the Marmol 30-1 ticket that I have, but we'll see what happens. But the point is, the Twins, I think I agree with you because of how last year ended. This can go south very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Yes, their division is not the best. You still have the Royals and the Guardians are supposed to be pretty good this season, the Tigers as well. I'd say none of them have really lived up to that yet. But the point is, I think I agree with you, though, because of how last year ended. If Baldelli ends up getting fired because the Twins don't turn it around, I'd say by June or July, would you be shocked by that? Because I really would not be. I think Baldelli, after last year, a lot of Twins fans want him gone already.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Minnesota last year for my birthday and just talking around to people and going to a Minnesota game where, like you said, the collapse in September was just, it needs to be studied, and they wanted him fired then. So if they start and they're underperforming, say they're 9-10 games below 500 come All-Star break, one, I would, to your point, I wouldn't be surprised if they were fired, and two, I wouldn't be surprised if they start tanking to next season at that point.
Yeah, I don't really know about tanking because at the end of the day, if you are, for example, the team that surpassed the Twins last year, the Tigers, and you had a 1% chance of making the playoffs and you made the playoffs, I don't know if baseball teams would tank that far in advance. I don't even know if you really can tank. When you're looking at your contracts with Buxton and you're looking at your contract with Correa, you are spending some money out there, and you kind of need to at least try. The problem is, I just feel like the Twins, you were hoping after last year's collapse, would it at least come out with a purpose the following season? Some energy, some motivation. It's been the opposite. They've just shown up completely flat, kind of like what happened last year in September. So if it's going to carry over, then I don't think Baldelli's going to last. So I'm not saying he's going to be the first manager fired, but I'm saying if you want to look at some betting markets, if those are available, I know some offshore books have that. Baldelli might be a decent pick, honestly, if you're going for first manager fired and you think that this team is not going to turn it around anytime soon. But anyway, I wanted to briefly mention that, mainly because we have 5 games and I wanted to stall. So now it's time to get into the actual 5 games we have for the Thursday card. Before we get into any of the games, though, I want to remember once again that we do have a great promo going on right now because August is right around the corner, and SGPN's back with Splash Sports for a big contest up to $30K in prizes and only a $25 entry fee. Get in today at splashsports.com/SGPN. That's splashsports.com/SGPN. A reminder, tune into the Golf Gambling Podcast and the Steffi Smalls show for all of your Masters picks. You a big golf guy, Dylan?
Only during the Masters.
Okay, good answer.
Yes.
I don't really follow much anymore. I know Tiger's injured. I used to follow
No, but
more.
did you see his ex? I say ex. I don't know. I'm one of those weird people.
No, it's fun.
Ex.
All good.
I don't know if it was an April Fool's joke, but apparently his Achilles is fine. He's going to be in the Masters this year.
Did you see that tweet yesterday?
Today, yeah. So it might be.
Is that an April Fool's joke tweet?
I don't know. I also saw him asking for privacy as well because he's dating one of the Trumps. That was.
You might have. You might have gotten got yesterday on social media. That's all.
I mean, but if he comes back and he is going to participate in the Masters, I mean, that is just.
I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he goes, P.S. April Fool's, my Achilles is still a mess. So, yeah, I got. Yeah,
okay.
Never mind.
Just asking. Okay.
Yeah.
So, happy April Fool's Day to you, just to be clear here. But, yeah, I used to care more about golf. Then LIV kind of happened, and now nobody watches, like, half the good golfers that went over. So, it's just kind of a weird situation there. But, yeah I'm not really the biggest golf guy. But I know Steffi Smalls and that podcast does a good job, along with the Golf Gambling Podcast. So, check that out if you do want, I'd say, people who actually follow golf. Let's give you some betting advice. Anyway, moving on to the first game that we have on the actual card for the Thursday slate. First game, you have the Red Sox against the Orioles. In this one, you have Houck going up against Morton for the actual money line, basically minus 110 on both sides. And for the over-under, you have 9 as the total. Boston has been no bueno so far this year, and the Orioles have been fine so far. However, Morton, we know, is up there in years, doesn't exactly have his, I'd say, best stuff ahead of him at this point. I think we'd agree that he's not nearly the guy that he used to be. Houck, though, has some talent, but he was a bit underwhelming in his first outing this season. But for me personally, I think I am going to go with the Red Sox in this one. I think Houck's better than Morton at this point in their careers, and I think that's going to be enough for me to pick Boston. I know Baltimore's been hitting the ball well, but I have questions on Morton and his effectiveness in 2025. We'll see how he does the remainder of the year, but I do think Houck should have a better season than Morton. You could argue that people are confused why the Orioles picked Morton anyway to be kind of a bandage in the rotation. But I'll go with the Red Sox in this one at a cheap price with a better starting pitcher. You?
Yeah, I did make the Orioles a minus 130 favorite here at home, but I think that's too big of a price here for Charlie Morton. I'd rather back the over. I mean, we've seen the over cash 4 of the last 5 games here with the Orioles. Offense looks great, to your point. Top 5 in the league in batting average, OPS, RBIs, total runs, hits, home runs. They've been a wagon offensively. And the way Tanner Houck was pitching in his first start against the Rangers, I don't know if this is just a good spot for him against a really good Oriole team. So I'm going to continue to fade the Red Sox pitching. And on the other side, Charlie Morton, like you mentioned, wasn't good either in his first start. Towards the back end of his career, he couldn't even go through 4 innings before getting yanked against the Blue Jays. So, yeah, this is another game where I think we'll see plenty of runs. We'll also have 14-mile-an-hour winds blowing out towards center field tomorrow in Baltimore. So, going to be a windy day. 2 pitchers that really didn't perform well. My total came out to 9.4. So, yeah, I like the over here, over 9.
Yeah, I agree. When both pitchers, I know it's a small sample, but both pitchers have not looked sharp so far this season. Morton, I think we'd agree, is, I don't want to say hanging on by a thread, but it hasn't exactly been the prettiest last year or so for him. So I like the runs as well in this game. I'll go with the over 2. Moving on to the next game. You have a massive favorite on the board. You have the Rockies as massive road dogs, to nobody's surprise, as the Phillies are minus 230. The Rockies are plus 180. For the over-under in this game, the line is being set at 9.5. You have Sanzatella against Taijuan Walker. That's right. Taijuan Walker's minus 230 in 2025 in a baseball game on the money line. For this one, I'm going to go with the Rockies' first 5 in this game. I'm not going to try to get extremely, I'd say, creative or desperate by trying to find a way to back Taijuan Walker. I don't think Taijuan Walker is good. I don't think anyone thinks Taijuan Walker is good. So why would I lay 230 with him? I know the Rockies aren't a good team. I get all that. They're going to be a laughingstock the entire season. But Sanzatella was good his first outing, and I do think first 5's intriguing. Taijuan does give up a ton of contact, and the Rockies can, I think, manufacture enough runs. I think Sanzatella is good enough to give up 2 in the first 5, and I think Walker's bad enough to give up 3 in 1 inning. So give me the Rockies first 5 money line for this game. You?
Yeah, boring play for me. I wish I was getting a little plus money here, but Phillies -1.5 is at -108. I don't mind that at all. I just don't think the Rockies are going to have the bats long term throughout the game through 9 innings to compete with the Phillies. I agree. Sensatella, he actually was really good against the Rays in week 1, but let's be honest. The Rays offense is nowhere near the offense of the Phillies. We saw in game 1 of the series where the offense for the Phillies, you're just going to tear you apart over time. And that bullpen for Colorado, worse in the league right now. So I like your angle going first 5 because even if they have the lead, me personally, I just don't trust them to hold on to it once that bullpen comes in. So, yeah, maybe even Phillies team total over as well, around 4.5. I think it should be around, but yeah, I like the team total over or the full game run line for the Phillies -108.
Yeah, it has definitely been, I'd say, ugly so far for the Rockies bullpen up to this point. To mention the specifics here, just want to quickly pull up what the actual ERA numbers are of 4 relievers. So 4 relievers so far this season. The Rockies have the where are the Rockies at actually? I'm trying to find them. So right now it actually says the Rockies ERA. Is that spring? Oh, that's the American League. Whoops. Okay, I was gonna say, why are the Rockies not here? I know this team's terrible. Yeah, do you want to guess what the Rockies bullpen ERA so far is through 4 games?
670.
Yeah, 1080.
Oh, I was
So it's a 1080. That is not good. 1080, worse than the entire league. So there you go. The Nationals are in second place, by the way, at 9.18. So they are a full, basically ERA. They're basically a full whole number and a half worse than every other bullpen in the entire league. So there you go. Definitely not good. I think you're looking at the Rockies, who cannot really get an out at this point out of the bullpen. But that's why I'm going first 5. If Senzatella is going to give this team a decent outing, and I'm going to fade Taijuan Walker, sure, hopefully he goes 5 innings. But that Rockies bullpen, which has been a laughingstock for years, might be even worse than it was in previous years. So a 10.8 ERA is definitely something. So congrats, I guess. The Rockies are in first place in some stat. And before we get into the remainder of the slate for Thursday, I want to remember once again that we are brought to you by our sponsor, Edge Boost, because if you do want to try their Visa debit card, I recommend it. Premium debit card for bettors. You could use the card to avoid being hassled by every card denied at the Sportsbook DFS site, so you'll not get denied by using the card. A reminder, you also get a bunch of cash rewards, earn $50 per month cash rewards by using the Edge Boost card. Plus, the best part's no credit checks, completely free. Sign up today, though, at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie, because MyBookie.ag is the place to bet in every sport. They have Crown College basketball games. So if you want to bet on 15 and 19 Butler, or you want to bet on Georgetown for some reason, you can, because they're still playing in this random tournament. Plus, they have props in every game. MyBookie also accepts customers on a ton of locations, and you can also use crypto for lightning fast payouts and easy deposits. You could also head to MyBookie.ag with the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. That's MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the first couple games for the Thursday card. Now it's time to move on into the next game. You have 2 underwhelming teams going at it here in the American League. The Astros taking on the Twins. Now, for this game, you have a matchup between Hunter Brown and Joe Ryan. For the money line here, Minnesota's favored at -125. The Astros are +105 dogs. For the over-under, you have the line being set at 7.5. Both teams look really bad. Minnesota's been in the middle of a rain delay for about, 4 hours at this point, and Houston can't hit. So I'm going to ask you, between these 2 teams, Houston's been a mess at home. Maybe they'll be better on the road when it comes to hitting, but between Ryan and Brown, do you have any pitching preference out of these 2 guys?
Yeah, I do like Brown. I do like Joe Ryan a little better here, but do we really want to back the Twins full game here? If so,
you want to back the Astros full game here. You got questions all over the place.
All over the place. If you do, I think it has to be first 5 with Joe Ryan with the Twins. He was fantastic in his first start. Even though the Twins couldn't get him any type of run support, I thought he looked really good. Hopefully last night was a good sign for this Twins team. Maybe turning around this offense a little bit, scoring 8 runs. They got their first win. Can they get a second? Who knows? Maybe they're catching the Astros at a good time. Like you mentioned, they're not really good either right now. They've lost their first 2 games versus the Giants. They don't look good today either with Valdez on the bump. Offense just hasn't looked good for them. Now going against Joe Ryan, I think this is a tough ask for a struggling Astros team. Bullpen has not been good either. I want no parts in the Twins bullpen either. So going to eliminate that. I'll just take the Twins first 5 here straight up.
Yeah, a part of me wanted to make a case for the over because I think 7.5 is a bit low, but I can't do it. Like, I feel like these offenses just have not been good enough, especially Houston, which has really been just an ugly series. They're 2-3 right now, but damn, they've been getting their asses kicked by the Giants. They've lost the first 2 games by multiple runs. They're down 5-1 in the 5th. They might get swept by multiple runs at home to a National League team, which is not a good sign.
No.
You're looking at the Astros, who have actually scored less than 4 runs in every game so far this season. They cannot hit at all. So we'll see how they look on the road. But the Astros scoring less than 4 in every game, I think makes me interested in Minnesota, at least to some degree. I don't mind Hunter Brown, though. So maybe like a first 5 under if I wanted to make an argument for fading these offenses and trying to back 2 pitchers that I think are pretty fine. So I don't mind the under for the first 5. Probably at 4 flat if the full game total's at 7.5. I'll go with that. I'll go with the first 5 under. I feel like for the money line, though, even though the Astros once again can hit, this might be a game where I blindly take the dog because I don't trust either team. If you want to give me plus money, like plus 102 on a coin flip, as far as I'm concerned, I'll take the coin flip.
Yeah.
Give me tails, never fails for this one. So I'll go with, I guess, Houston for the plus money, but I don't really want to be backing either of these teams at the moment. So that's kind of my thoughts on this one. It's a cop-out answer. But with these 2 teams involved, I kind of have to give you a cop-out answer because I'm not really sold on either team at this point in time. Moving on to the next game, you have the Diamondbacks against the Yankees. Yankees punted away the first game in the series because they used Mark Leiter Jr. In the 8th inning instead of using Weaver for a 4-out save. Apparently, Devin Williams was on paternity leave, so the Yankees were without a closer yesterday, but they kept Leiter in despite being, for the lack of better words, bad at pitching. And Suarez hit another home run yesterday. So the Yankees ended up punting away a game that they should have won. But for the actual matchup in this one, you have Merrill Kelly taking on Carlos Carrasco, you might have forgotten is actually in the league. For the money line, minus 110 on both sides. For the over-under in this one, the total is at around 9.5. So for this matchup, of course, Kelly is the better pitcher between the 2 of them. Carrasco has not really been good for a while, and with the Yankees, he had a relief appearance already. He's got an ERA of 13.5. So I'll go with Merrill Kelly in this one. I think that it's a good price for the better starting pitcher. Kelly, I think, can give you some distance as well. Carrasco won't give you distance for the most part, and he's not effective anyway. And we know Arizona can hit. So give me the Diamondbacks at what I think is a good price of minus 110. You have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Snakes here too. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show, where you could get a really good line at minus 102 with right now the better team, better pitcher, better roster, better hitting. The hitting could be kind of even right now, I think. But yeah, my numbers made him a minus 125 favorite here on the road. Maybe this is another game. Maybe first 5 is also an option because I doubt Cookie Carrasco is going to go more than 5 innings unless he's just cruising through the game, which I find it really hard to believe against this offense. But Merrill Kelly, he was also good in his first start versus the Cubs where, like you mentioned, Cookie Carrasco, he in relief only went 2 innings. He gave up 3 runs on 5 hits to a Brewers offense that is just nowhere near Arizona's. Arizona has a great bullpen. There's obviously Merrill Kelly's the better pitcher. Offense, I think, could even out with the Yankees right now. I think you got to trust Merrill Kelly in this spot here. Almost getting even money with the better team. I got to take the Snakes here as well. So minus 102, I'm going to be on Arizona.
Yep, so we're on the same page there. Moving on, though, to the last game. Once again, short card. Trying to stretch this out to 30 minutes. Between the Reds and the Brewers. For this one, the Reds lost back-to-back games 1-0, which is very tough to do, but they found a way. Feel bad for Hunter Green, who ended up having a great start. I know he cashed the props for Adam and I. Adam had the over strikeouts, I had the under walks, and he cashed both, but he still got the loss. So, sucks to suck, I guess. It is what it is. For Milwaukee, though, they won on a squeeze play, I think, today, as they ended up winning back-to-back games against Kansas City. So Milwaukee's starting to look a little bit better. As for Cincinnati, they'll find ways to lose games they should win every year. So even the bullpen was good the last 2 games, and they still couldn't win. So we'll see what happens. But for the pitching matchup, in this game, you have Lodolo taking on Nestor Cortez, who is trying to forget about whatever the hell that was against the Yankees, as he gave up 3 home runs in his first 3 pitches of the season. ERA of 36. For the actual money line, though, the Brewers are minus 118 or so. The Reds, are around even money. And for the over-under, you have 7.5 or 8. So first glance, give me the Reds team total over. 7.5, like for a full game total with Cortez pitching. I know you're expecting maybe the Brewers to look a bit sharper at home, and they looked better over the last 2 games, but Nestor's made 1 appearance, and he had one of the worst starts that anybody's had so far this season. And I feel like the Reds offensively, yes, they've been slumping a bit lately, but Cortez was not good in the back half of last year. Freeman was thrilled he came into the game in the World Series, and then he got buried by the Yankees. So it's kind of like the breakdown I had for the previous game with Kelly against Carrasco. If you have one pitcher who I really don't want to back, and they're favored in the game, or it's basically a pick 'em, I don't see any value in Milwaukee here. You could argue Milwaukee might win the game anyway. Maybe so. But with Cortez pitching against Lodolo, and I think we agree Lodolo is by far the better pitcher in this matchup, why would I take the Brewers laying in the spot? I think there's value on Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going to end it with a total here. I haven't picked a lot of totals here today, but yeah, over 7.5 just stood out to me, even though it's at minus 128, a little chalky, but I think for good reason. My total came out to 8.4. I wouldn't be surprised if this closed around 8.5. I think you said there are some 8s out there already. So, I guess the positive or the good thing, about Nestor Cortez having such a poor outing is that you can't get much worse than that. So maybe some positive regression there, but I do expect him to be a little better at home. And the Reds, they've been awful against left-handed pitcher to start the year. Small sample size, but hitting 167 through 6 games. They were just shut out today at home versus the Rangers. Hunter Green was fantastic, though. But I just don't expect them to put up another goose egg. They did just put up 14 runs the other day on Monday. I trust their offense more than I do the Brewers right now. Brewers kind of picking up the offense a little bit. They are 3-1 towards the over their last 4 games as well. So I agree. I think we'll see some runs here from both sides. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over 7.5.
Yeah, I see Dennis asking if I could bet the Brewers team total under either first 3 innings or first 5. I know you can. DraftKings does have those markets, so if you do want to back those. I ended up taking a lot of first 5 team totals last year. It's one of my favorite markets on the entire board. So, yes, you can find first 3 totals and first 5 on DraftKings. I know DraftKings does have those available for you. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for all the games on the card. Once again, 5 games, pretty short slate. Before we get into the actual breakdown of the lock and dog plays for the show, want to remember once again that we are brought to you by our sponsor, Oregon Fantasy, because they have under a pick 'em. You can play any sport, 100 times your money. You can mix and match. You can use a bunch of different sports, MLB, NHL, NBA. If you want to go for college basketball, Final Four stuff, they have options there too. Tennis, you get the drill. When you sign up, though, for your new account, use the promo code MLB SGPN. Especially you can first time deposit offer up to 1K bonus cash on fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm because they are the home of AI picks and props. They also just went live for MLB. So if you do want to get some props, you definitely can look at Rhythm to help you out by using their models. You can also use their models for NBA and golf. You try it out for free for a week by using the link sportsgamblingpockets.com/rhythm, the sportsgamblingpockets.com/RITHMM for a 7-day free trial. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Finished breaking down every game on the Thursday card. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Dylan, I'll let you go first. What are your lock and dog picks for the card?
Yeah, really didn't give out that much plus price, so I'm going to search for a dog real quick. But as my lock, boring play, like I said, but I'm just going to continue to fade the Rockies here on the road. That was very profitable last year. I think it will be another one this year.
You're backing Taijuan Walker as your lock? Damn.
Yeah. It's more a sense I'm backing the offense for the Phillies compared to the offense for the Rockies. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Phillies minus 1.5 at minus 108 as my lock. As my dog... Let me go Diamondbacks minus 1.5 at plus 145. I think that's a very good price. We're getting a much better team. Not much better, but better right now. They're in better form, a much better pitcher. And I think the offense is just as good as the Yankees right now. So I don't expect the Yankees to really compete in this one against Merrill Kelly. I think he'll have a very solid outing here on the road. So, yeah, let me take the Diamondbacks minus 1.5 at plus 145 as my dog.
Yeah, so for my lock, I am going to go with the Diamondbacks money line. So we are on the same page, but I'm going to go with the money line instead. I just like the price. I know you mentioned the run line. I don't mind that either, but I do think minus 102 currently on FanDuel. It's a great price when you have Kelly going up against, once again, Carrasco, who has an ERA north of 13 at this point. Kelly's also been good against the Yankees, historically speaking. So I like the spot there for Kelly. I think that it's a good pitching matchup, but I think Arizona, after winning the first game of the series, courtesy of that home run by Suarez, who's been an absolute monster so far this season. I like their lineup. I think their bullpen's fine. I think that Kelly is a solid starting pitcher as well. So I like the value on Arizona. Give me Arizona for the money line at minus 102 as my lock. For my dog, I thought about taking the Rockies first five, actually, in this one, but that might be a bit dangerous. So I'm trying to think if I actually want to go with the Astros money line at a pretty cheap price, only plus 102, but I don't really want to back Houston right now. It's more just taking the plus money play in that matchup between two teams that have not looked good so far this season. But you know what? I think I'll actually do it. Give me the Rockies first five on the money line here. I thought about maybe first five plus a half. I'll go with the money line. I'll fade Taijuan Walker. I feel like I'm going to go with the most basic approach for the plays here. I'll fade Carrasco and I'll fade Taijuan Walker. What can possibly go wrong with that breakdown? So I just think at the end of the day, the Phillies are too big of a favorite here in the first five. Senzatella I actually like. You're looking at Walker, who is not, in my opinion, that good at this stage in his career in 2025. Yes, the Rockies could punt the entire game because they have the worst bullpen in the entire league. That's fine with me. I don't give a damn. As long as this game's close in the first five, I got a shot at it. But Taijuan Walker, as far as I'm concerned, should not be laying minus 200, minus 210. And you can find a good price in the first five. So it is dangerous. I'm aware of it. But I am going to go with the Rockies first five money line, fading Walker into the spot as my dog. Don't have a price on that, though. I'm going to have to wait until the lines drop for the first five. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the breakdown of the Thursday games. Dylan, anything else you want to add before you officially wrap up the show?
I know you're an NBA guy, and we just got breaking news that Joel Embiid's going to have arthroscopic surgery on his left knee. I mean, it's sad. It's between that and Zion Williams not being able to complete a full season. What are you mostly surprised at this point?
Well, I feel like the main surprising thing here would be that it took so long for Embiid to get the surgery because he's been complaining about his knee all season. In fact, when he was in the Olympics for Team USA, which is a whole separate story, a point is, though, he ended up playing through injury, and people argued that he aggravated it. So you're looking at him missing opening day. He barely played all season, and now he gets the surgery. I feel like he could have gotten surgery 2 months ago.
Oh, well, don't you remember he went for a second opinion after the first one said, your left knee is toast.
The first one said, you're screwed, and he said, let me get a second opinion. And I guess it took like 2 months to find a second opinion. So I don't really know what he was waiting for. The Sixers are tanking, so they could have gotten this done a while ago. I mean, Zion Williamson getting his, I'd say, rest for the rest of the season. It could be a tanking thing.
Yeah,
I think that Zion could be playing if the team was worth a damn, but the Pelicans are terrible, so why would you even bother? It's so about bad. The time that it took Embiid to actually agree to get the surgery when everyone knew that his knee was basically just extremely problematic since the start of the season, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago. I feel like that's more concerning.
Yeah, no,
that doesn't really make any sense to me, to be honest, but we'll see what happens. It's like I'm trying to think of a good example. I don't remember if Stanton got surgery with his issue with the Yankees, but I think like Stan had an issue or something recently, and he's like, I'm going to get this checked out. And it was like spring training. And it's like, this has bothered you for 3 months. Why would you wait 3 months to like get it checked out? So I'm not surprised. No. I know Adam Rosenberg, the Sixers fan on the pod, is definitely not surprised. No. He's very anti-Embiid as well. It's been a season from hell. On the bright side, though, a lot of time for podcasting for Paul George.
Yeah, yeah, that too. And then they might be in I guess, competition for Cooper Flag if he winds up going into the draft. But
that's why they're tanking. They have to finish with a top 6 draft pick to keep their own pick. So we'll see what happens. But I forgot, what team do you root for basketball?
I'm a Knicks fan, so shout out Melo. Shout out Melo getting into the Hall of Fame, much deserved.
Yeah, good for him. Definitely saw a lot of him when, as a Nets fan, of course, he was playing all the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely a solid career. He was going to be a guaranteed Hall of Famer,
Oh
and
yeah.
now he's officially in. The only thing that was waiting was the wait period, and that's over.
Yeah.
So nice for him.
Real
So,
quick, I know this isn't the NBA pop, but do you think James Harden gets in? I mean, he's going to be a top 10 scorer of all time. You think he gets into the Hall of Fame?
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. He's 100% a Hall of Famer.
I
Like
was
I
just
can't tell if you're like messing with me or not. Like
No,
as a Nets fan, the Harden experience went south very quickly.
yeah.
He's one of the best shooting guards of all time. Like yes, he's going to be
He's a top 5 shooting guard of all time.
shooting
Behind
guard dash point guard. But yeah, he won an MVP.
Yeah.
He even though
He
I
just
hated
doesn't have the ring.
yeah. Well, neither does Barkley. He was a guaranteed Hall of Famer too.
That's fair.
Karl Malone.
Yeah.
And Karl Malone had off the court stuff too, which I'm not going to get into.
Yeah,
He's also a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
so
we know.
the point is, James Harden's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. People forget that the NBA Hall of Fame doesn't actually exist. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So you merge the college stuff too.
Yes.
So Harden didn't really do much at Arizona State besides be a top draft pick, but he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. It's not even close. But as a Nets fan, it went sour. And as a fan of basketball, I hated watching him play. Because he would draw 20 free throws a game. It was an absolute just catastrophe to watch. But he's clearly going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he should be. So
I was just messing with you.
The question is like Al Horford and some guys like that, like if they're going to get in. I think yes for Al Horford.
He should.
College is included. He has back-to-back rings with Florida, so keep that in mind.
Love
Joakim Noah might be a Hall of Famer based on what he did in college. What do you think about it?
That's
a possibility. Crazy. So keep that in mind. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the actual baseball episode. A reminder, though, for Hall of Fame stuff on baseball, please let Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame already. Pete Rose,
please.
Maybe. We'll see what happens with Pete Rose. I know he passed away. We'll see if Bamford puts him back in. But either way, I can't take the Baseball Hall of Fame seriously when the best player of all time is not in it, and the guy with the most, or one of the most hits of all time is also not in it. So
put A-Rod in it as well.
Well, if you're going to put Bonds in, you have to put A-Rod in.
Yeah, and Mark McGwire. Don't get me started. We could do a whole podcast on the steroid era, but
pretty much. But Bonds technically never, I believe, failed a registered drug test. So
allegedly, he never did it.
Yeah, I saw a tweet though quickly that I'll mention, which I ended up tweeting out. That somebody was saying like name a random stat. It was clearly like an engagement bait tweet that was out there. So I tweeted out that in 2004, Barry Bonds reached base 376 times, and he only had 373 registered at-bats.
That's insane.
He reached base 3 more times than he had registered at-bats in one season. That's how good Barry Bonds is. And that was 2004, by the way. That was after the 70-plus home run season.
Oh, you're my age, right? You're around late 29, 28?
I'm 27.
27. All right, same. Only 2 years. You remember watching Barry Bonds, right?
So when he was doing the whole home run thing, honestly, I'm fine with the segue here because, once again, it's a short episode. You can stay if you want to. You can leave if you don't want to. Bonds, when I was watching as a kid, I'd say I was around, like, I'd say 4 to 6 years old for, like, the main peak of Bonds when he was trying to go for 70. And then, of course, people were still walking him anyway when he was, like, in his late 30s. But I do remember the chase for Ruth and the chase for Hank Aaron, because every single at-bat that he had, or close to it, ESPN was jumping into live breakdowns or live broadcasts of the Giants games, which I still have not really seen since. The only comparison was Aaron Judge trying to break the AL home run record, and baseball fans lost their minds because every single at-bat was being just immediately brought to television. So they were interrupting other sports, like a basketball game or something, going, let's go to Aaron Judge quickly in Toronto. And it's like, what are we even doing here? So that was like the only comparison that I had. But Bonds, from what I remember, was a player that was on his own playing field.
Yeah.
He was the best player I've ever seen play baseball, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah,
and if you ask other players, his peers at the time, or you just look at the highlights or the stats, I can't even think of a guy in the same ballpark as him. I don't want to make the comparison that's like Gretzky in hockey, but if you made that comp, I know he has no rings. It's baseball, though. It's a lot harder to do, and he did carry his team to the World Series that one time. You can make a Gretzky comparison. I just don't think anybody holds a candle to Barry Bonds in baseball.
No,
Do you
I don't
agree with
either.
that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I know what was it, 2001, 2002, he's when he had 73 home runs. You know those rest stops on the parkways in New Jersey, New York. I was in a rest stop with my family and all those little TVs up in the corner, they cut to Barry Bonds when he broke the record, and I think the gap between Barry Bonds and the second best player in that year is probably like the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It's not even close, and I think it's a shame, and that's why I agree. I don't think I could ever respect the Baseball Hall of Fame because you can't tell the story of Major League Baseball without saying Barry Bonds' name. So,
Yeah.
go. What are you gonna say?
I was going to say, my last point is I understand the counter argument is, well, you cheated. You shouldn't put cheaters in there. A reminder that Gaylord Perry, who's a Hall of Fame pitcher, admitted to using the spitter his
Yeah.
entire career. And, like, everyone just laughs about it because he admitted it after he got inducted. Like, he technically cheated, per se. David Ortiz got in. He was linked to steroids for most of his career. I feel like that's kind of hypocritical itself, too. But I feel like at the end of the day, when you're looking at the story of baseball, I think it's hypocritical that the MLB was basically saved in the 90s by the steroid era, and that brought baseball back to, I don't want to say relevance, but popularity. And now suddenly you go, look at these guys, these cheaters, these scumbags, and it's like they're the only reason why people watch the sport.
100%. Now they're getting punishment for the ultimate achievement into getting into the Hall of Fame, which they worked their whole career for.
And a reminder that it's also worth mentioning that steroids were not technically illegal according to the baseball rules at that point.
That's fair. Yeah.
Seems like common sense, but the rules actually did not have a steroid clause until like after the fact. So a lot of it's retroactive, but either way, a point is I think Bonds should be in, and that's kind of my thoughts there. Best player I've ever seen. And if you ask most people who played with him, they would agree that he was the best player that anyone's ever seen. Plus, he was really, really good on Pittsburgh before the steroids, so keep that in mind. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Reminder back once again for the Friday games, and we're back as well Friday morning for the props. Until next time, you can find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio, find me on the NBA show, the MLB show, find me on the tennis show as well. And you can find Dylan writing articles for SGPN that I will post on the SGPN Twitter when Dylan hits me up telling me to do so. Until next time.
Midnight.
Yeah, I'm up anyway. Until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.